Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Good afternoon, rather. Well, it's morning my time. How are you all doing? I hope everybody's doing good. Oh God, with my hat. I'm gonna wear my hat today. I hope you all are doing good and getting ready for getting ready for this weekend as it relates to football. So this is the welcome to um, our Who to Watch channel. And on the Who to Watch channel, what we do is we actually look at the game changers for whatever sports we're covering. And so right now, this particular channel for Who to Watch is going to be sports, Who to Watch sports. We're looking at the game changing power of the field goal kickers. And so I call it the 60s Club for this particular session because I'm going to be featuring, we're going to be featuring those players who have obtained 60-yard field goals plus. And as I was doing my study and my research, very, very interesting. So let me just say that right now in the 60s class, what I call the 60 game changers, um, the 60 club field goal kickers who have achieved field goals 6 yards and their game changing power are only total 23 players, include with all three high school, college, and NFL. That's how many we have that have done that I did my research on. Maybe more, but those are the ones that I was able to capture. So high school has 5 players. The college player has 7 players, and the NFL has 11 players. So one reason we call this Who to Watch is remember. I don't know if this is your first time. Who to Watch is created to have an angle on sports, but the angle is for a lot of the positions and a lot of players, a lot of teams, and a lot of things that are happening in sports that they'll get covered. Let's just say football. In football, there are aspects of the game of football, particularly that it that does not really show a lot of the achievements in those particular areas, or they don't get a lot of hype. So that's why it's called Who to Watch. And Who to Watch is also for all the newcomers or the people who are making, you know, like if you're going to use basketball, I think they call him Ant Man, but Anthony, he's doing very well. I'm very fascinated with him. I think he's going to be possibly a two um, player as well. I'm not sure when I say professional player. And I think we also in the era of players who are doing more of just not just playing one game, one sports, but they are like maybe 2 to 3 sports, and they're, the height, and they're leaders in those particular sports, and have made some major achievements. I think we're just seeing a different era, moving into a different era of sports now. So I want everyone who knows someone who's a kicker, start watching the kickers. Also, I wanted to challenge kickers because there's a lot of loopholes in here as far as years, as far as the some of the yards that haven't been done yet. That's not that I can see. That's not on the record books, and so you could be the game changer. So I wanted to go ahead and just review a few bit of them. What I've done so far. I'll probably go back and revisit this closer to the end of the football season so that I could see if there's been any change from my feed for today on the podcast and start watching the players. So once again, let me just do a recap. Welcome to Who to Watch Sports. Today we're doing the 60s Club. We're featuring the field goal kickers and their game-changing power. So for high school, we have 5 players, and I'm just going to tell you who those 5 players are, and hopefully this will encourage some football field goal kickers to get in the books, get on the books. in 1985, well, first of all, the longest field goal kicker for high school was 68 yards. And the name of the player was Dirk Bourgogne. You can go look on him, Google this, from Reno High School. He holds the record for the longest field goal ever kicked in the history of high school football with those 68 yards. And that was in, I believe, 1985. Then we come to Rhett Armstrong, kicked 62 yards. That was at Palmer Ridge High School. So that's in 2024. And then we also have in 2023, we have two players. We have Evan Noel from Mississippi High School, and we have Keelan Anderson from Cheyenne South High School. And that was in 2023. Both of those young men kicked 61 yards. So there's a gap between 62 and 68. No one has done 67, 66, 65, 64, 63. We go down to 62, then 61. And then 60 yards, we have Dylan Christopher from Mitchville High School in 2011. He did 60 yards. So that's it that I can see for the high school players. So the high school players, now there are some, I didn't put them in mention, but there are some young men out there who are going through different camps and things like that, and they've achieved those yards. But in a game, I'm only featuring those who are in the game. But I believe we have a class of some that are coming up in high school now that, or in the near future, in the next probably 2 to 3 years, that will start matching and being added to this list as well. As far as college players, we have 69 yards in 1976. Ovi Johansson for Abilene Christian High School kicked 69 yards field goal. Tom Oldle in Fort Hays State in 1988 kicked 67 yards. Then we had Martin Gramatica from Kansas State, who kicked 65 yards. We have Maddox Trujillo from Temple, who kicked 64 yards. And we have Casey Bernarski from Minnesota State, who kicked 63 yards. We have Jonathan Garavay from Texas Tech, who kicked 62 yards. And then we have Wilson Yee from Chadron State, who kicked 61 yards. So let me go back and show you this. Ovi Johnson in 76 kicked 69. On this list, we don't have anyone 68 as a college player. Then we went to 67 yards for Tom Oley for Fort Hays State. That was in 1988. So from 1988 to 1976, that's a big gap that we had where we didn't have our players. Then we jumped from 1988 to 1998. 1988. Then we went to 1998 with Martin Gramatica from Kansas State with the 65 yards. So there's no one on here for 66 yards from a college player that has hit that field goal that yard. So I'm mentioning this because that's why it's Who2Watch. No one has kicked a 66-yard field goal. No one has kicked a 68-yard field goal in college players. That's noted. If there are some out there, then let me know. But I've looked and I didn't see any. And I've been going with the ESPN and the NFL to be able to be the ones to kind of help me with my tracking. Then in Martin Gramatica was 1998. In 2024, we have we'll get 63 yards for Maddox Trujillo, and Casey Bernarski in 2017 hit 63 yards. So we have 63, 64, 65, but like I mentioned, we don't have 66 and we don't have 68 in college. And then we have 61 and 62 but we don't have anyone that's on the books in the college that I could see for 60 yards, which is interesting to me. But those are the ones that can be the one who to watch because if they achieve those that haven't been done yet, that's something to shoot for the kickers, those who are field goal kickers. Then in the NFL we have 11 players. So in 2021, Justin Tucker of the Ravens in 2021 kicked a 66-yard field goal. And this is the longest made field goal in NFL history, was a 66-yard field goal so far. Then in 2024, Brandon Aubrey of the Cowboys matched and he kicked 66 yards in a preseason game with the Las Vegas Raiders. Then he came back and that was the one that he did. And so between uh, the 2021 and 2024, we had the 66 yard. So as you notice, on the books, we don't have, I'll just keep going and then I'll let you know the rest. Then we have Brandy Aubrey, the same one that kicked in the 2024 with the Las Vegas Raiders in the preseason game, the 66-yard field goal. He came back and in September of 2024, most recently, he kicked a 65-yard field goal when he was playing with the Cowboys in week 3 of the regular season of this year. Then Matt Prater kicked a 64-yard field goal with the Denver Broncos in 2013. Then in 63 yards, we have the New Orleans Saints for Tom Dempsey in 1970. He holds the record for over 40 years, 63 yards, Tom Dempsey, since 1970. No one has met. And then we have Graham Gano of 2018 with the Carolina Panthers. He also did 63 yards. And we have Brett Mayer with the Dallas Cowboys, who in 2019 also did 63 yards. And then we go to 62 yards for Matt Prater, who with the Arizona Cardinals in 2023, last year kicked the 62 yards. And Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles and Joey Sly of Washington Commanders kicked 61 yards in the NFL. So, and then in the 60 for the NFL, we have a couple other players that kicked 60 yards in 23-3 last year. Brandon Aubrey, the Dallas Cowboys, also kicked the 60 yards, and Harrison Butker from Kansas City Chiefs in 2023 kicked a 2023 kicked the 60 yards. So in the NFL, we have 60 yards, 61 yards, 62 yards, 63 yards, 64, 65, 66. The only thing we don't have in the NFL is a 67-yarder. That's just for the ones who are playing now and, looking forward, they can match that. We also don't show in the NFL any yes, we don't show any 67, 68. I'm not sure that's attainable, but we don't show any of those. So what I do want to say though is in the NFL, the longest field goal in Super Bowl history was by the Kansas City Chiefs Bucker's 57-yard field goal against the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. So that was in 2023. And then in the longest field goal in playoff history was the Carolina Panthers kicker Graham Gano. He hit a 58-yard field goal against the New Orleans Saints in their 2018 wild card game. And then there's also, he's tied with Pete Stoyanovich of the Miami Dolphins, who in 1991 also kicked the 58-yard field goal for the longest field goal in NFL postseason history. So those two tie right there. But outside of that, that's it. So you can go to ESPN, look that up. Where I looked at the NFL records. There are a lot of records out there, but I really kind of chose those. But I'm excited to see now field goal kickers, you up on deck as far as who to watch. We're going to be looking to see who you are and the accomplishments that you can make for those that have not been achieved in the 60s club and those areas where those gaps are there. And also, we want to see history being made in some of these as well. Same thing for college and same thing for high school. So I'm really getting more excited when I do Who to Watch because I like the research part to see what's not there. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on. So the field goal kickers, you are know that you are game changers. So now that the game has been um, the field goal kicker's position has now been highlighted and spotlighted for game changers by being able to kick long field goals and, of course, successfully. And those can be some game changers in some games, especially when you have, close games and whatnot. So I'm very, very excited to have discovered this. And as I'm discovering a lot in Who to Watch. But right now, I just wanted to put that out that I wanted you to look and see and watch and see Who to Watch for the field goal kickers for the 60s club. Who's going to be added to the 60s club that's not here now, and what type of from high school, from college, and from the NFL. So I say to the high school players and to the the college players, this could be the game changer for you as far as those of you who want careers in the NFL because there's a lot of area there for you to be able to make your mark by getting on the 60s club, becoming a part of the 60 clubs with accuracy in your field goal kicking and being able to kick 60 yards plus. So let's see what the game changers do, especially this season, and then we'll start comparing going forward who keeps getting added to the list. And like I said at the beginning, at the end of the year, of the end of the season, we'll go back and look and see who's been added to the list that's not on the list and whatever and what accomplishments they made based on the distance, the timing, whether it's in playoffs, whether it's in Super Bowl. Some of those are made, some history made. So I challenge all the kickers, the field goal kickers, to go out there and look and see where do you fit on as a 60s club. Are you part of the 60 club field goal kickers? And to see that there and to see how what your game changing influence can be or added to this list. There's some other things out there about field goal kickers I did not concentrate on, but there are other records out there like who has kicked the most in a season, who whose percentage is higher. Those are some statistics that pretty much follow the sports anyway. So that's why I didn't really want to put a lot of attention on that. I really who to watch is the things that have not been done and to kind of give it more of attention so that one the players can be inspired by it as well as we as uh, spectators and our team allegiances and whatnot can be looking to see who's going to be the game changers for the 60s club field goal kickers. So coaches take note, players take note, parents with children who have a desire to do this, and the high schoolers, college players, challenge yourself to see if you can make the 60s club. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to develop, but I'm very, very inspired to see the development of this. So, Who to Watch is signing off. We'll be back on again. We have another the next one we're going to be doing, maybe, yeah, the next one's going to be punt returners. I want to know, I want to look and see who has the longest punt return or who's the highest punt returners in the leagues or in high school and football and I mean in college and in the NFL and look at that to see what that looks like, what that picture looks like. We know the punt returners we like, and but there I'm going to be interested to see what the data shows for that as well. So now we've done the field goal kickers. Now we're getting ready to do the punt returners. Who has the longest punt return yards, the most punt return touchdowns? Those kind of figures we'll be looking at later. So I look forward to seeing you again, and I'm excited about Who to Watch and what I'm discovering, even creating this. So it's fun. It's fun. We're having a good time. Take care. Be safe, and we'll look forward to you again. Enjoy uh, this week. We're coming up what on the 6th week, I think, of the football for the NFL season, and I gotta get my dates, my weeks together. But now I'm getting ready to start looking. Well, I'll be doing a recap soon, probably within the week, within the next 7 to 10 days. I'm going to do a recap of the first because we're in the first 5 weeks we've completed. I want to see what the stats look like right now from the team standpoint, and kind of review that for college and for the NFL and for high school. What who the top five right now. But things are changing, as you can see, because I won't talk about here, but there's been some changes. The teams that were up, like in college, that was in the reading in the lab, they're not the ones that are the data has changed. The data has changed in the NFL as well. So it's very exciting to see how it's changing. And we expect it to change because we're in season. But I would like to kind of, I'm going to do it in like the first 5 weeks. I think there's 16 weeks total. I know for the NFL, we're going to capture it that way so that we can kind of compare from the first 5 weeks. This is what we see, and this is what we see over here. And I'm looking forward to those data as well. So look forward to talking to you again. Look forward next to see who the punt returners are. Take care. Thank you for watching and supporting Who to Watch Sports.